The Shaymin Project was initiated in 2013 by Austrian filmmaker Marco Kalantari. As this project had great visual demands, Marco decided to produce the film in both Austria and Iceland. London-based casting director Mark Summers agreed to cast the lead roles. Over 100 actors auditioned for the roles of the Shaman and his squire Lini. Danny Shaler and David Sayers were finally chosen for the parts.
I think so.
You think so? You think he's in the hospital? Well, you just come and tell me the Mark's been shot. You don't know. You don't fuck all.
Meanwhile, the Austrian production team, headed by Christina Ajay and Ernst Golder, started its scout for locations to prepare for the shoot, which was scheduled for July. The Austrian army supported the project and gave its permission for filming to take place on their military training grounds, a perfect setup for the ambitious plans of the Shaman team. Marco wanted to create as much as possible in camera and hence teamed up with Henry Jenevine, who had already worked with Marco on his first feature film, I Noah. Henry was in charge of the film's weapons, gear and equipment design. His task was to create futuristic high-tech guns, helmets, armor, gadgets, lamps and screens out of printer ink cartridges, scrap, waste and a few materials bought at the do-it-yourself store. As some of the actors were from Austria and some from the UK, opportunities for them to meet prior to the shoot were unlikely to occur. Therefore, Marco directed intensive rehearsals with stand-ins in order to prepare the main actors for the tight shooting schedule.
You chose to obey the order. So tell me, Shaman, why?
A lot of discussion regarding character and dialogue took place via Skype between people who had never before met face-to-face. The actors Anton Nuri and Stefan Bernhard trained for the shield fire action weeks before the shoot with a martial arts trainer. Danny Shaler's Shaman dance was developed by a dance choreographer in Vienna in order to help the actor work on his character. At the same time, Japanese composer and music producer Tak developed various parts of Lini's violin playing in Tokyo. On the day before the shoot, the main cast eventually met Marco in Vienna for a final round of rehearsals.
I told you! The Shaman risked his life for you. You risk yours for him.
Every position and reaction was thus precisely prepared and storyboarded. A total of 170 shots had been planned for a 5-day shooting schedule. Marco worked with German stylist Ule Barcelos, who was very eager to bring an organic yet futuristic look to the characters' wardrobes. Makeup tests were done to develop the Shaman's war paint, as well as a very realistic, gritty look for the other characters. Marco created a world in which every detail and design came to be a logical, integral part. The Austrian shoot started on the 17th of July in a beautiful old villa near Vienna. The scenes of the Shaman entering the Netherworld were the first to be shot. Danny Shaler's method acting approach was quite a surprise for some of the Austrian team members. But the energy and intensity he unfolded on the screen justified his technique. The scenes between Shaler and Susan West would become some of the film's most remarkable moments. The team then moved to the military training grounds near Grossmittel and set up for the filming of the scenes shot inside the ditch. These scenes would require a lot of effects like explosions, dust, fire and smoke, and highly energetic performances from Danny Shaler and David Sayers.
Action.
The scenes taken on day 4 were the climax of the Shaman shoot. On the set created by art directors Fiona Brady and Mira Kunik, the Shaman walks down a long trench filled with 100 extras on his way to his confrontation with the Colossus. The trench was set into a concrete structure in the middle of a forest, so the art department had to first remove trees, grass and moss before walls could be constructed. Then big sheets of cloth were spanned across the location in order to modulate the sunlight. Cinematographer Thomas Keenast decided to use a Steadicam in order to provide the scenes with an urgent yet elegant mood, a silence before the storm, and to give the audience the feeling that they are actually walking through the trench themselves. Henry Yennevine's weapons design team were literally working day and night in order to equip the extras with weapons, armor and helmets.
3:45 in the morning. The last helmet!
The scene in the trench introduces young English actor Adam Wright, who gave a brilliant performance.
Hi Marco, it's Adam here. I hope you enjoy my audition tape. I did my best. I tried to make them proud.
After many tense and tiring hours of filming, everyone was relieved when this complex, challenging scene had been accomplished. But the Shamans still had a long way to go. After wrapping the shoot in Austria, a small team flew to Reykjavik to face the second part of the Shamans' shooting adventure. The plan was to carry the costumes and the Arri Alexa camera to Iceland and then film the scenes of the Shamans' team running towards the Colossus with the help of local Icelandic stand-ins. 2 students from the Icelandic Film Academy put on the costumes of the Shieldfire Masters, and the micro crew started to take their first shots. The shoot in Iceland was by far the toughest day of the Shaymin Project, but the images captured by Thomas Keenast proved that the trip was worth the effort.
And rocket!
Post-production started right after the team's return to Austria. After several weeks of offline editing, the VFX crew, headed by Singapore-based VFX supervisor Lau Kia Hao, took over. Lau had joined the project during the development stage in March 2013 and had created numerous pre-visualization animatics and matte paintings in order to help Marco and his crew visualize the Colossus and the world the film was set in. In November 2013, Berlin-based VFX artists Falk Buttner and Arndt Horstetter teamed up with Lau. And in 2014, KFX Vienna, UPP Prague, Fin Shanghai and VFX artist Chris Kalata joined in. The strategy was to find a good balance between 3D CGI and 2D composite effects. Throughout the post-production stage, Lau made a point of having every visual effect tightly connected with the story, and layer by layer bring the world of the Shaman to life. Composer Tak worked on the musical themes and did the score recordings with his Tokyo-based orchestra Ongak. Nearly 18 months after his initial decision to make this film, Marco's vision turned into reality.